Yesterday evening I had a couple of beers and I haven't thrown the cans away. I thought they could have some use. I've seen people make various things from drink cans. I make use of these too. Some of the things you see is little alcohol stoves, camping alcohol stoves and the like, very clever. But I have no use for that sort of thing. What I do have use for, however, is the materials. I salvage all sorts of things, and it needn't be this brand, it can be any type of drinks can. There's basically two types. You've got these, which are aluminium, and you've got a steel based one. Both have their uses, I might add. Anyway, I can make use of these, as I say, and first of all I'm going to cut the bottom and the tops off because I want this part. It is possible with a little bit of effort to use a stout Stanley knife on a piece of wood and rotate these by a blade, and because they're very thin. But I'm just going to take a quick approach and do this just roughly. I'm going to use my little cut-off saw. So we'll switch that on. Doing that. Having cut the top and the bottom off, whichever way you do it, you don't really need 10 snips. An old pair of scissors are quite man enough for slitting these through, so do a cut like so and you can open them out. You may be wondering what I use this for. Well, that's handy, it's a straight line there, look. Brilliant. I use this as shim material for packing up engines, such as on boats, packing glands, or even as a raising tools in the tool post on the lathe if I've resharpened them. And I have mic'd this, and it's about 5 thou, 1.1, 1.2 of a millimetre thereabouts. And what have we got? We've got 4.5 inches by 8 inches from one can. So we'll mark that. It's 4.5 by 8 inches. Thickness, if I mark that, I'll know what it is for future reference. If, I just realised, if I should need to make a hole in this, it's far easier to punch it than it is to try and drill it. It's far too thin. But something like, you know, you can use a buckle punch, leather punch, gives a far superior finish than you could possibly try and do with a drill. Anyway, there's our shim material for future use. If you're doing several, you will find they vary just slightly depending on the accuracy you want. And a quick way to measure thickness, other than like each individual one, is as follows. If you haven't all the necessary equipment and have to make do like I do, a very simple comparator can be made by putting a dial indicator in the vise, in this case in the milling machine, and I've lowered down, or lowering down, the chuck, and we'll leave it there, and then I'll move the saddle across so the table dial indicator comes in contact with the chuck. So we'll put some tension on the mechanism, and the dial needle is going around, as you can see, and we'll leave it there If I now use the outer bezel and bring it round so it reads on the 0, which is just there, I can now take a direct reading every time I pass material between there and there. On the video before last I showed this little vibrating motor here. It comes out of a mobile phone. It's just an eccentric weight on this tiny little motor, and I actually want this one for a vibrator project, so I don't want to pardon me, take this weight off. But I have tried in the past, because these are excellent little motors, to drive other projects, and I've had several attempts at trying to take this eccentric weight off and only ended up destroying the actual motor itself. But there's a guy on YouTube I found, and all credit to him, I can't think of his name at the moment, but he's perfected a way of taking those off quite easily. And I've since tried it and it works well, but I don't want to show on this one as I require this one. But if you look very carefully, just at the end of my screwdriver, just there, there's a little pinch mark, and these are swaged on. If you look at the end, there's a tiny, tiny, tiny little hole. That's the diameter of the shaft, incidentally. So if we require to have those off, he's perfected a very simple way of doing it. I'll take this out of the pin vise. He's got a block of wood and drilled a hole through the block of wood the size of the body. Let's put that there. He's taken a craft knife, like a Stanley knife, and there's two little notches in the back here, and he found out there's enough room to slide that underneath the actual weight. Well, I'm sure you know what's coming. You then place that in the hole like so, and then he took a tiny piece of pin like that. It has to be no larger than the hole, of course, and then holding it very lightly in a long-nosed pair of pliers. Keep this short, it's less likely to bend. And then it's possible just to tap that, and you can tap the motor off of the actual weight. So now you have a really tiny motor to make your micro robot, or micro bot, or whatever you call it, or little tiny racer. But I actually want this one as a vibrator. Anyway, that's how to take them off. Dead easy, without destroying the actual motor itself. I thought that was quite neat. And finally, one guy asked, I like your accent, he said, would you possibly make an answer phone reply for me? Well, yes, certainly, but you haven't left a contact. Is it a joke, I asked myself. Well, if it's not, send me a personal message or leave an email. Okay, that's it this time. Thanks for looking, guys.